This is the Pal Talk News Network.
The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
Well, T. Jonah asked me to sing. Do you want me to sing the opening to the show? Or should I just rap like I always do? No, everybody will leave if I sing. I cannot carry a tune. News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet, with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on Blip TV and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you're encouraged to post your comments, whether you agree with yours truly or not, no retribution. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten, and I welcome you to the show. Okay. As I always do at the beginning of the show and several times thereafter, I suggest that you go to paltalknewsnetwork.com for the latest information that you may or may not see, hear, or read in the mainstream media, information that you need to know to be an informed citizen of the world. And for those of you who are listening to us on CRN Digital Talk Radio or any of our fine internet radio affiliates, if you hang out there at paltalknewsnetwork.com, you'll see at the top of the screen a button that says Watch Now Live. And if you click on it, you get to Watch Now Live. That's why it says Watch Now Live. And there is no charge to participate in this forum. And in spite of the frivolity, they are serious issues that we discuss here every single day. Well, yesterday, before we get on to the topics du jour, you'll recall we were talking about the issue on the Mexican border and the fact that El Presidente, no, not Senor Calderon, but Senor Obama, decided that he's going to ask Congress to fund the sending of National Guard troops down to the border so that the various governors of the various border states can send the National Guard there because the situation is out of hand. I did a little research subsequent to that show, and I found out that actually what Obama is doing is a watered-down version of what George W. Bush wanted to do. President Bush wanted to send about twice as many troops as President Obama wants to send. So while President Obama looks like he's doing something about it, perhaps it's form more so than substance once again. Now, I have been one who have quoted various sources that have suggested to me that the real problem is not to the south but to the north, because it's from the north that various terrorist suspects have come into the United States. Well, I was directed today by a fellow journalist to a report that was done by WSB Television. That's Channel 2 in Hotlanta, Georgia. Now, why would they in Atlanta, so far from the border, be so concerned about the issues down on the border with Mexico? Because the drug cartels are fighting their fights in Atlanta. So even though they're not on the border, they are feeling the effects of it. So they decided to go down to Arizona and report on the problem. And of course, they came up with all the same facts and figures that everybody has heard before. But they came up with something new as well, something that's been suppressed by the government of the United States, but that a congressional aide provided to them. They are called, I believe, and I may have the initials and the acronym a little bit wrong, but I think they're called NMIs, non-Mexican immigrants. These are individuals who have been caught by the Border Patrol, who are not from Mexico, but are from other countries. They are from countries, ladies and gentlemen, in the Middle East, countries that are on terror watch lists, countries that train, fund, and or export terrorists. Now, there is a triangle of 3 countries in South America, and within that triangle, there are Muslim extremists at work, without regard, by the way, to the borders there. And according to the WSB series of investigative reports, what has been happening is that people have flown in there from countries in the Middle East, where, among other things, they get training in Spanish so that they can sneak across the border from Mexico into the United States, speaking fluent Spanish and passing for a Latino when they really are from the Middle East. The ranchers that were interviewed, there was a rancher who was interviewed by WSB who has found on his property evidence of Muslim extremists who have come into the United States from Mexico. He found, and they showed it on their broadcast, a prayer rug. There was nothing particularly ominous about a Muslim prayer rug. And yes, there can be Latinos who are Muslims. There are Latinos who are Muslims. But this prayer rug that he found on his property had the words martyrdom on it, the word martyrdom on it, and an image of the Twin Towers and a plane flying into one of the towers. So they went to their local congressman, Congressman Brown, there, who represents Georgia. And they said, Congressman Brown, have you ever seen this list? You're on the Homeland Security Committee. You should have seen the congressman's face. He was unaware of it. He asked for a copy of it so that he could take it to Congress to share with members of the Homeland Security Committee. Now, you know that I am one who has been very almost dismissive of the threat that the southern border of the United States presents to us with regard to terrorists coming into the nation. But I'm starting to take a different look at this. This was a very eye-opening investigative report by WSB in Atlanta, and we will stay on top of that story. I've already made inquiries